moving across town was like moving to another city. It's huge. It was huge. And it was like a whole new thing. Like, oh my gosh, my life's different now. It's like I never actually ever spent time on the east side. Even I've lived here forever. And I never was the east side. I was always like west sider because that's kind of like UCLA and where I grew up, where I initially grew up. And I was like, wow, there's like a whole ecosystem here that's pretty amazing. I love it here. I mean, people are like, what's it like? I'm like, oh, it's like Williamsburg, I guess, compared to New York.
Hello and welcome to Here in LA, Atwater Village Edition. Today, we sit down with Audrey Wu, a fascinating woman who's created a company whose sole purpose is to help women before and after they give birth. Apparently, Mother Nature does a doozy on a woman's body after she brings life into this world. And often, health insurance doesn't help when she needs it most. Well, Audrey has an app for that. Sorta. In her beautiful home with Tiffany blue walls, Audrey will tell us about this super important startup that she created and how she's raised over $3 million to get it going. Let's rock. Hey everybody, I am in Atwater Village with Audrey Wu.
Hi, Tony.
Thanks for letting me into your beautiful home.
Of course.
We're in what color blue would you call it?
I mean, it's Tiffany bluish.
Tiffany blue. Did you paint this?
I did not, but I have a guy called Sergio Magic Hands, legit, because he actually doesn't use painter's tape. And he's done a bunch of my houses. No painter's tape.
And the edges are perfect?
Yeah.
He's just got that touch?
It's
He's
just
just a pro?
literally, in my phone, he's literally Sergio Magic Hands.
Where'd you meet Sergio?
My friend had Sergio paint their house, and she sent the contact to me, and it said Sergio Magic Hands. He's done my parents' house too, actually.
Did he do this?
Yeah, he did all of it.
So I'm looking at the edges. It looks perfect.
Yeah, I know, right?
Wow. And he does it all by himself? He doesn't have assistants?
Nope. He's a little fellow too.
Did you want this color?
Yeah, I picked all the colors.
Out the color.
Yeah.
Tiffany blue.
Well, because it contrasts really well with our artwork. So
But also, it is a unique color.
It brightens up your day.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was just because we had some artwork that we really love that contrasts really well with a blue background.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Tiffany blue. Perfect. Okay, you're a native Angelino.
Born and raised, born in Santa Monica.
Oh.
Moved to the San Fernando Valley when I was a kid. Very young, so probably
St. John's you were born?
Yes, St. John's. How did you know?
How many other hospitals are in Santa Monica?
Yes. Yeah, St. John's. And then when I was about 2 or 3, we moved to the Valley to Woodland Hills.
What did your parents do?
My father was an engineer, and my mother got her MPH at UCLA, but ended up just being a stay-at-home mom.
Brothers and sisters?
No, I'm an only child.
So mom was waiting for you to come home every day.
Yeah, that was intense.
Is it intense?
It was.
A good intense or a bad intense?
It depends, but it was just a different time back then, right? Like, we didn't really talk about fertility. We didn't really talk about those other issues because it was so taboo. So it was always kind of sensitive when people were like, you're the only one, and it wasn't like a lack of trying. It was just...
For some reason, mom and dad couldn't do it the old-fashioned way.
That's, yeah.
Totally normal.
It's a different time,
But also, I imagine back then, there's like all this guilt and emotion.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of other options, right?
There's no one to talk to, right? And there's no options, and you don't really know, and people just, it's very, very hush-hush. It's almost embarrassing, which it is not now.
Right. It's totally normal
Yeah,
now.
it's very normal now. I mean, why do we think there's so many twins? I mean...
Oh, is that why?
Ideas.
Oh. So, what high school?
Well, that's 2 actually. My home school was Taft, and it wasn't really my jam. It fell a little bit to 90210. I did go to Taft for about 1 semester. It was just not my jam, so I transferred because prior to Taft, I was at a magnet school. So I was actually a Sepulveda, which is like a gifted magnet. And then I decided I'm going to try out my homeschool because the commute was really long. Mm-hmm. And I tried my homeschool and I was like, it's not really for me because people were getting Beamers for their 16th birthday.
At Taft?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it was too bougie.
Yeah, it was done at 210. It was just too much, and I didn't feel comfortable there. So I ended up going to another magnet school where a lot of people from my junior high ended up going to, called Van Nuys.
Van Nuys High? Mm-hmm. Where they shot Fast Times at Ridgemont High?
They did. Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Wow.
Guess what? Marilyn Monroe went there.
Did she really?
So did Paula Abdul.
Did Paula ever come back?
No, none of them are. No, but it's an amazing. Yeah. So Spicoli, all of that. Yeah. So I went to school at Van Nuys. It's a math, science, creative arts magnet. It had different programs. So it actually allowed us to get a really 360 education because while I was in math science, I still had access to the creative arts program, right? And I was part of jazz band. I took acting classes. It was so fun.
What'd you do in jazz band?
I play piano.
Are you a good piano player?
I still play jazz now. I have a piano in my office.
I interviewed Esther Singh. I believe she's from Taiwan, which you are too, right?
My
or her
family.
Right.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And she kind of joked, well, of course, I play piano and
Of
violin.
course you did, yes.
You fell into that same role.
I did, but I play for fun now, and I mostly play jazz. I don't play any. I can play classical, but I play a lot of jazz.
When I hear jazz piano, I'm hoping it's like Thelonious Monk.
It is actually Thelonious Monk, and then Cannonball Adderley,
Yes.
and then I do a little bit of Stormy Weather. You know, that's kind of something.
So that's what you like to do.
I do. It's fun, and Broadway music to his chagrin, my husband's chagrin, because
He doesn't like Broadway?
I know. Whatever.
But you love Broadway.
I don't love it. I mean, I didn't love Hamilton. I know it's a little like controversial, but I did not love it. But I loved.
What didn't you love about it?
It just wasn't for me. I really love Rent. Huge Rent head.
You're not into rap?
I had Sing in the Heights many years ago, and I actually met Lin-Manuel
Ooh.
before he was like this megastar, and I thought it was okay. Like, it just wasn't. I like Andrew Lloyd Webber. I'm like a classic. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, I saw My Fair Lady recently, and that was amazing. I never seen it.
Where'd you see it at?
Pantages.
I love that place.
Yeah.
It's a great place.
Yeah.
That's where I saw Hamilton. Did you see Hamilton?
Oh no, sorry, not the Pantages. What's the other one? No, Hamilton was at Pantages.
Dorothy Chandler?
No, the Kodak.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. You know, other than the Oscars, I've only seen one concert at the Kodak, and I felt like it's too tall. Or did you have really good seats?
I didn't have really good seats because I was like not ready to invest in musicals at that point. You know, like, okay, so during COVID, I was like, oh man, you know, like all these Broadway stars are doing these things. Like there was a Rent thing, okay? And I'm a Rent head. I love it. So I was thinking to myself, when COVID's over, I'm going to start going to Broadway shows. And so I started looking at the tickets and I was like, let's just get balcony at first. You know, like let's move our way up just to see if we still even like this. But so I was in the balcony with a woman that kept singing along and going like measures ahead. So she was saying, yeah, I was ready to kill her.
Yeah.
I finally, like during intermission, I moved to another row. But,
Good.
Oh man, yeah. So then I saw it. I was like, this is really beautiful. Like I didn't know it was about a pair of gay men who tried to make a woman more womanly. It was very weird.
I didn't know they were gay.
But they lived together.
I didn't know about Breakfast at Tiffany's until I actually saw it. And I was like, she was a hooker?
Yeah, there's a darker side to everything. I mean...
But, like, this is an image that every teenage girl has on her folders and posters over her bed. We just allow this to happen. Different times.
Different times. I mean, sometimes when you look at things from the 80s, it's cringeworthy, right? But it's what we grew up with.
Yeah.
We knew that was just how things were. Things were kind of, like, inappropriate a lot.
So you end up going to UCLA. Mm-hmm. Why did you stay in LA?
It didn't really have much of a choice. I did have a choice, but my parents both went to UCLA, and it was kind of like legacy. It was pretty much you're going there or you're going to another UC, but that's where you're going. And thankfully, I got in because that would have been.
You're okay with going to UCLA?
It's a good school.
It's a great school, but still, it doesn't sound like your heart was in it.
No, it wasn't really the right fit for me. I think I would have done better at a smaller liberal arts school because I was just a little bit too punk rock, I think.
Really?
For UCLA, yeah, I was too edgy. People didn't get me.
Explain your punk rockness.
I mean, it wasn't even punk rock. It was just like, I listened to the Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
You know? And I was going to like Oasis concerts. I was going to like Breeders concerts, right? At like, I don't even, where were they playing down here? Like, I can't remember the places. But the iconic Oasis concert where the brothers freak out on each other, I was there.
Was that here in LA? Or
Yes.
like at the Bowl or somewhere?
No, it was a tiny, tiny place.
Oh,
Crap.
really? An indoor place?
It's still here. I
Like
can't
a
remember.
club?
I can't remember the name of it. Slips my mind. Yeah, I was there. So we were watching the documentary, the Oasis documentary, not that long ago, and I was like, Mark, I was there. Wow. Yeah. So that maybe ages me, but yeah, it was a very fucking good show. And then they lost.
Nothing has aged you yet. You relax.
But yeah, I will say after the Oasis concert, my ears ringed for a good couple days.
So on stage, they yelled at each other.
Yeah, they had like
but they finished the show?
Yeah, it was this whole thing. I remember they were trying to tape it for, they were taping it, and then I think somebody got upset. I can't remember the whole thing, but I remember watching that documentary and being like, that happened. And also what happened, OG time, OG, back when Morrissey played UCLA, and people stormed to the front. Yeah, I was there.
Like at Royce Hall kind of a place?
Oh, not Royce Hall, Paley Pavilion.
Oh.
There was people stormed to the front of the stage, and I was,
So you're like a K-Rock girl.
I'm a K-Rock girl, yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't say that's punk rock. But you think that was still too punk rock for UCLA?
Because everybody I met at UCLA was like from the Bay Area, and they were all hella this, hella that, and all this like fucking stupid ass rap shit that I was like, what the fuck is this shit? I'm like into Nirvana, like what? Okay. Hella good. Like hella what? Like, so basically everybody that went to UCLA that was in my dorm was from the Bay Area. And I was like, you all like, I don't know what this like.
Didn't you have a lot of friends from high school that none of your friends from high school went to UCLA?
No.
Huh.
Yeah, my best friend at high school ended up going to Vassar, which in retrospect was a great school for me.
Really?
But, my parents weren't allowed to let that happen.
Were you in any clubs at UCLA?
So I actually tried to simulate for a little bit, and I joined the ACA, American Chinese Association. Yeah.
This is very reminiscent to what Esther told us, that she grew up in Wisconsin with conservative parents, had to go to this conservative church. She wasn't into it. Because she had other brothers, though, who stayed in Wisconsin, she got into UCLA and was like, goodbye. I'm out of here. And even though she's Taiwanese, she joined the Chinese club and became the president of the Chinese club.
God, I wonder if we crossed paths.
I bet you did.
We might actually know each other. That's really weird. I can't remember. Honestly, I only like kind of tested it out like maybe freshman and sophomore year, and then realized like this is not for me. It was fun.
Even that club wasn't for you.
Well, I was trying to simulate. I was trying to fit in. And I didn't really fit in anywhere because I was a little bit too K-Rock, I guess you can say. There weren't a lot of us at UCLA.
That surprises me.
Maybe I just didn't meet the right people, but I was an art history major, so I don't even have any friends from my own major. I don't know.
Because who are those people?
I don't know. They were just like, I mean, listen, I just did not find my crew at UCLA. So unfortunately, I didn't have that quintessential like college experience that was like 4 years of like amazing like.
Did you have a boyfriend?
Did I? I don't know. I mean,
oh no.
Yes. At times,
don't
no. At
know.
times. I mean.
Okay, I'll put it this way for you. Well, first of all, what's your astrological sign?
Sagittarius.
Maybe that explains this. Did you tell a boy at UCLA that you loved them?
No.
You didn't have a boyfriend.
There we go. I just didn't find.
And you know
and all
what?
the guys in our history were gay, so like.
Oh, were they?
Oh, of course. I mean.
I don't know.
Yes. Yes.
So all the boys were gay.
It is all women.
Or there's all women. Where did you live after the dorms at UCLA?
The dorms. I left right after UCLA.
No. But like all 4 years you were in the dorms?
No. I lived in Westwood Village.
What was
like
that
right across the street from like In-N-Out Burger.
Yeah, what was that like?
It was cool. I mean, I loved having an apartment. Thankfully, we had parking spots. It was great. It was really nice to have your own apartment at that age because you're just like freedom, right? I mean, dorms are one thing, but you still have like rules and stuff. So living in an apartment was great.
The Whole Foods wasn't across the street back then, though, right?
Dude, no.
What was there? Was that the movies were
It's
there?
like a Gelson's or something?
Gelson's. Well, same diff.
Well, it was something that was unattainable for college students.
It shouldn't have been there.
Well, you couldn't afford anything.
To me, Westwood Village is one of the most curious places because when I first moved to LA in the 80s, because I'm older than you, the Village was the place to be.
No, it's dead.
I know. And it broke my heart.
It sucked for me because I wanted an actual college town.
Yeah.
And I got to visit Berkeley and I was dissuaded from going there, but I was like, that's a real college town. Like, wait, what is this like? Half the stores are closed.
Yeah.
There's an Olive Garden, a CPK, or whatever. You're just like,
Was the Westwood Brew Co.
no,
Not
that was
even
after
there?
me. No, it was so sad.
That was like 99 or...
There was what's that? Irish bar.
Yeah. Murphy's? Or not Murphy's.
No, it's still there.
But the one that's really close to the In-N-Out.
Yeah, what's that place called? Yeah.
Well, that was the thing was, I think there's 3 neighborhood councils that oversee Westwood. And they all basically, there was one shooting a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a gang thing. And then everyone freaked out. And then it became a shitty town.
And they said, no bars, no new bars, no places with a pool table, and no dancing.
Oh, that's what happened? Oh my
Did
God,
you
is
ever
this
dance in the
Footloose?
Village? It is like Footloose.
I did not dance in the
You
Village.
never danced in the Village.
You're right.
That's why.
Fucking Footloose, man.
Yeah.
In Westwood.
Meanwhile, back in my day, there was a 3-floor dance club right where your apartment was.
Oh, man.
And Michael Jackson would go there for fun to dance.
Wow.
Because I guess he lived in Encino. He would just go over the hill.
Yeah, right before 5.
And it was super close. So,
Gosh, I mean, yeah.
and to me, Westwood Village has more potential to go back to that than anywhere else because all those storefronts are closed. And because you've got these UCLA kids who are dying to party.
Yeah, there's nowhere to go. I mean, I ended up going to frat parties. Now, that's sad. When you're, like, trying to get Natty Light or is it Keystone? Whatever it is, so that's what your Saturday nights ended up being at a frat house. It's disgusting. Doing, like, questionable kamikaze shots somewhere. I mean, shocked. Nothing. I never got roofied. I mean, fuck.
Are you a religious woman?
I grew up religious, and do I still believe in God? Yeah, I do, but not in a Bible thumping way, right?
What church did your parents take you to?
It was a Protestant church.
Protestant.
So pretty liberal. My parents are very liberal.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really unusual for immigrants.
Yeah. What turned them that way?
I think they just had to. You know, I think also growing up in Taiwan is a very liberal country. And so when that becomes the first like foreign country to actually legalize gay marriage.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Are your relatives also kind of like your parents?
Not all of them, but I do have family members that are LGBTQ, and it's very accepted and it's okay, you know. And
Fantastic.
It wasn't before, but I've always been an advocate. So these days, you know, it's just accepted.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Okay, so you finished UCLA, and what was your first big job out of UCLA?
At UCLA or outside?
After.
This is
You got an art history major.
it's a plot twist.
You didn't really party that much.
I did.
I mean, oh, you did?
I just didn't party with college students. I ended up partying with young professionals.
Oh,
Yeah.
excuse me.
Yeah, so I hang out with a lot of investment bankers and corporate lawyers.
What?
So this
Okay, hold on. Was this in Westwood or nearby Brentwood?
I just wherever we would hang out. I don't know. I would just go to parties and stuff. And this leads into my first job out of college. So senior year, you know, I mean, I'm dating like corporate lawyers that are fucking adults, you know, and like hanging out with investment bankers on the weekends, partying and like, you know, because whatever, I'm 20, I can do whatever I want. And when it came down to getting a job, I was like, oh, your job seems kind of cool. It pays a lot. What's it you do? I'm an investment banker. I'm like, I want that job. So I did minor in business administration, so I'm not going to like say I didn't know anything, but I really didn't know anything. It was kind of shocking I got a job in the space. So I got a job in New York, and they
In New York?
Yeah.
A very competitive place for this.
Yeah, right? I know. Right in Midtown. Smack in the Midtown. A big-ass bank. And with the big-ass salary that my dad was like, what? This doesn't make any sense. He goes, wait, they're paying you this and this signing. Wait, what? And he goes, this is not real. I go, it is. I'm signing it. Bye. So I left right out of college because I needed to do my thing. So I was in New York for 6 years. I was an investment banker focusing on mergers and acquisitions, or murders and executions, because you get that one. And
But I hate mergers. Should I?
mergers, why?
Because, well, first of all, competition. I think competition is good.
Well,
For example, we have maybe 2 internet providers in Atwater Village. Maybe 3.
we have Spectrum, and it's horrible.
If there were 20 internet companies, it probably wouldn't be horrible.
Well, it's also just about
And Spectrum had bought Time Warner. Time Warner
Yeah,
had bought. So
telco is complicated. I worked in media and entertainment, so it was mostly about buying content, right? The content library. What did I want? I want that content library, and this is before technology was a huge play.
Yeah.
So we were buying basically libraries of catalogs from other companies, and so that's kind of what I did, and it was really fun. And then I worked on some other smaller size deals in, software, mainframe. No, it wasn't mainframes. No, it was all software stuff. And then I did some consumer goods stuff, some e-com stuff.
Were you good at all this?
No. I couldn't use Excel to save my life. My first job, I was like, what is Excel? Why have I never seen this before? And I legit know that people thought I was stupid. Because I saw it in writing. I went back into their files because those guys did private things, and I found the notes from my interview.
Ooh.
One guy was like, this is the dumbest person I've ever met.
But we're still going to hire her?
No, he was very junior. They didn't give a shit about him. No, the guy that hired me was UCLA grad, so he's like, I'm bringing her on.
Nice.
So in any case, and I interviewed with Steve Bannon. I forgot. This is a good story. Yeah, so this is getting really good.
Because he is a finance guy, right?
So Bannon actually was part of the team in entertainment and media at that time.
Wow. Did he know what he was doing?
I interviewed with him.
What was it
He
like?
was different. He was first of all, he was actually in shape and wore a pinstripe suit with uneven pinstripe lines. I mean, he was all very
He didn't have the 3 polo shirts?
No, Wall Street, HBS.
Looked just like...
What he lived in LA, so his office was in LA. But I was technically with his team because it was media. And then I was like, whoa, I didn't know what happened to him. And I was like, what happened? I mean, I was always a little scared of him, but in investment banking, you're generally just scared of all the senior guys because they basically just yell at you. But
Wow.
yeah, so Stephen Bannon was one of my bosses.
So, okay, these people are yelling at you. You're feeling out of place.
Well,
Why? How were you able to stay in it for so long?
So here's the thing. Nobody really yelled at me because I was really good at and they also just kind of they liked me, for a better word. Nobody ever sexual harassed me. People always ask me, was there a sexual harassment? I go, no, actually the only sexual harassment was from a client.
Oh.
And it was inappropriate and it was at drinks after hours, but never with my team. Everyone's always just taking me under their wing because,
Right.
I'm the spunky little girl and they're just like, oh my God, we love her. She's got energy. We want to protect her. So I felt that. I even remember one time that my boss was like, can I come to this meeting? They go, no, we want to shield you from the bullets. And I was like, okay.
That's great.
Yeah, it's unusual. Unusual for me in my field.
So let's get the heck out of New York.
Okay, thank God.
And let's way fast forward to today. Mm-hmm. Today, you are a co-founder of a...
Femtech startup.
Femtech, you call it.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I just interviewed the executive director of Vidiots in Eagle Rock. And they are very proud to be female-owned and female-run.
Yes.
And when I asked her what's the advantage, basically, of that, I think she gave me a good answer. Why is Femtech?
So we're
better?
solving a problem because women's health has basically been developed by men. And a lot of the things that we do now, especially when it comes to postpartum pregnancy, was developed in the 1970s.
Oh.
So we're listen, you can get dick pills any which way. It's covered by insurance. The government pays for it. But Lord and behold, a woman after she gives birth, it is not pretty. You're peeing your pants. There's just all sorts of things that people don't know about. In other countries like France and England, it's normal to have this care. But in the United States, it's broken.
You said dip pills?
Dick pills.
Dick pills.
Well, Viagra.
I see. Okay.
Viagra's covered by insurance.
Right.
Yeah, and the government also pays for a significant portion of it for the military.
Huh.
Yeah.
But for women,
we don't get this care. Insurance doesn't cover it. Basically, so after, during pregnancy and after pregnancy, a lot of shifts happen with your body. And they can be like your pelvic floor, which is really, everybody has one, right? It's a hammock thing that holds everything in. And when you give birth, you push so hard that things happen. And for years, it was taboo. People didn't talk about it. But in other cultures, like Latin culture and Asian culture, is after you give birth, you get like at least 30 to 40 days to heal. And everyone takes care of you. In America, no. There's no healing. You go. And who takes care of you after you give birth? Nobody. Because your OB is like, see you later. I did my job. And we found out the number one prescriber of postpartum depression was a pediatrician. Because they diagnosed the mother at the office, which is ridiculous. Because it's a doctor for small people. So there's this gap, right? It's this big gap.
But weren't those pediatricians correct in giving these women?
Correct, but nobody else is there to help them. At the end of the day, there should be some care in between.
Yeah.
Your OB sees you one time after you get birth, like 12 weeks after birth, and you get a 15-minute session. And it's see you later. Have a good life.
Okay, so what's the name? You're Ruth?
It's called Ruth Health, and it's also because it's named after Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Is it really?
So the eve of her passing, my co-founder and I were crying and texting each other, and she says, "We will now and always be ruthless." And I was like, ooh, let's call ourselves Ruth Health, because we didn't have a name, and we're like, we love it, and her grandmother's name happened to be Ruth. So we went with it. And
Ruth is a strong woman in the Bible.
She is. I mean, if you're, Old Testament style.
You're like, if you're into that kind of
Well,
thing.
I mean, Old Testament style, right? And our corporate name is Ruthless Co.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. It's like Ruthless Records, right?
Which was pretty awesome, NWA.
Yeah.
Okay, so what services do you guys provide?
So we're a telehealth hub that provides service, before you're pregnant, during you're pregnant, after you're pregnant, we offer all the services. One of our main things that we do is pelvic floor physical therapy and training, which is to strengthen your pelvic floor. So you can do this preventively before you give birth. But as you understand, the thrust of giving birth, a lot of things kind of just happen. And so there is preventative ways, right? One of the things that a lot of women do is they want the snapback body. Bad culture, right?
Well, it's great. We see these celebrities do it, and we get this crazy belief that anybody can do it, right?
But it's not normal. So what happens is we have patients that go running. They go on the treadmill, and they're like, oh, it did not make things better. And I'm like, yeah, you got to pull up, not push out more. So there's a lot I can get into, but it's pretty gnarly,
Okay, is what you guys do covered by insurance?
Some insurances, yes. Medicaid is actually covering this now. Medicaid. And if you have regular insurance, it doesn't really cover it. But we're also...
Isn't that backwards?
Yeah, exactly. Super backwards.
Huh. So the government will pay for it.
Yeah, they're paying for like 6 months, I think. It depends on what state you are for Medicaid. But yes, there is... the Biden administration did put in postnatal care because it is important. Because what happens is women don't go back to work.
Right.
And that's the problem.
That's right.
Because of their health issues, or they feel like this is just like, I can't go to work because every time I sneeze or laugh, I pee a little. That's horrible. Especially like, what if you're like a frontline worker? You can't go to the bathroom every 5 minutes. If you had a desk job, you could, but you can't. You're on your feet, and it's completely inequitable.
And so you connect doctors with patients?
We actually don't work with the MDs. We work with doulas. We work with trainers. We work with the registered nurses. We kind of bypass the doctor here because we don't necessarily think it's important for this kind of like what we like to call interstitial care. We do have a chief medical officer. She's my co-founder's mother, and a 40-year OBGYN.
Ooh, perfect.
Yeah, she had her own practice where she only hired women, and apparently the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
So, okay. There's a lot of pregnant ladies out there right now.
COVID babies, yeah.
Is COVID babies a real thing?
Oh, hell yeah. So everyone was like, the birth rate's falling. I'm like, what is anybody doing in COVID? Especially the early months, except probably procreating. There's been an immense amount of COVID babies.
Okay. So a woman has a COVID baby and she's hearing this.
Well, we also provide lactation consulting.
You need to be consulted on that?
Yes, because breastfeeding is not intuitive. It doesn't just happen, and there are so many things that can happen to a woman. Tony, I'm not going to get into it because it's pretty horrific shit, but
Really?
like the things that we go through as women, like even just like the tiniest period cramp, I think a man would just be dying. Like you have no idea, right? The things that we can do and how strong women are, but breastfeeding is challenging. Not everybody can do it. And which is why, in the earlier generation, people just ended up bottle feeding because nobody was there to help them to have the baby latch.
In a weird way, this is what Hillary Clinton was kind of saying about it takes a village. If there was a village, or if there was an extended family like there used to be, maybe an aunt could help out.
In Asian and Latino culture, probably even in Jewish culture, that's a thing. Like we named it after Ruth because she's your grandma. She's your stern grandma that she's going to tell you what to do.
So I've heard about, I know nothing about this world, but I have heard about babies not latching.
Yes.
So you blame the baby for this?
No. It's no one's to blame.
Because I want to blame the baby.
Oh, I know. I mean, because, I know, but they're so cute and it's really hard to.
They are cute.
But...
So you can, if the baby's not latching, the woman uses the app.
There's no app. We have a one-on-one session.
Through like FaceTime type of thing?
Zoom, yeah.
Great.
Zoom is HIPAA compliant.
And, you have to worry about that?
Oh, yeah. This is patient data.
The privacy. So Zoom Zoom has like an SSL of some sort that makes things...
we pay for it, yeah.
Interesting.
So the baby not latching is no one's fault. It's just more of an educational thing, a try. What does this work? What does not work? And that's what a lactation consultant does. And everybody we hire is certified. So IBCLC, it's pretty high ranking. Everyone's probably a mother themselves, multiple children. So being able to have that safe space to actually talk about this, like we have patients that cry on sessions because it's the first time they're being allowed to talk about the havoc that just happened to them. Like I got torn in half. Like what happened? And we're like, it's okay. We hear you. We want to help you heal.
I love it.
So it's a very loving but stern environment because we're no bullshit. Like Kegels, that shit don't work. Period. I don't care how fucking goopy you are and all that shit, but no.
So they sign up on the web?
It is through the web. It's a web app, but
it is an app.
Well, it's not an app you can download. So basically, it's
a stork has to deliver it to you?
Well, that's funny, isn't it? No, it's actually you can log on using your browser on your phone. We need everything mobile friendly. Ruthhealth.com.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And if you don't have insurance,
it's cash pay.
Okay.
So what we are is actually like 70% cheaper than other services.
Oh, good.
So each service itself, like we have an intro package, which is $124 for 2 sessions. And
$124
for 2 sessions.
That's pretty good.
Could be anything you want: lactation consulting, pelvic floor training, C-section recovery is something we haven't talked about. We have different product offerings, so it's mix and match. But that being said, it brings it cost down quite a bit. Even if we're up at $99 per session, general people that charge for this, it's like $200. So you're already saving half of it, and we do take HSA, FSA.
What's that?
So a flexible spending account.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so we take that. So if you have a card from your employer insurance that has pre-tax dollars on it, we accept it.
Why wouldn't health insurances want to cover this?
There's just there is a need, right? They understand that there's numbers there, but depending on the coverage, like Kaiser will help you have a lactation consultant, but one.
One session?
Yeah, one session with a lactation consultant, that's it.
Huh.
And that's not enough. Sometimes it's enough.
Yeah.
But what if you're, there's a lot of other things that happen, like your clogs could get, your ducts get clogged and all sorts of things where you would actually have to go get antibiotics, which you can avoid by having a lactation consultant and knowing that, okay, my ducts are clogged, but there are things I can do to remedy this without having to go on antibiotics, because that's just pretty extreme. Yeah. And if you're still breastfeeding, it's like not the best thing.
What's the future look like for Ruth Health?
Oh my gosh, we are now a team. Oh my God, as of yesterday, we were a team of 8, but now we're a team of 11. So we raised $3.1 million in venture funding.
Because these investors believe
we're mission driven. They believe in that.
That this is going to be profitable at some point?
Well, maternal mortality is pretty shit in the U.S. I mean, Kamala Harris talked about that recently. It's pretty bad. For a developed country, it's embarrassing. Mm-hmm. So our overall mission driven is to improve the maternal mortality rate, which is not hard to do because it's so abysmal. Mm-hmm. But these investors, a lot of them are mission driven. They believe in us. They believe in myself and my co-founder Allison Greenberg. They believe in our vision. They believe in our passion. And this is my 3rd startup. Yeah.
But again, investors only invest in things that they think can make money.
So femtech is really hot right now, right? Because all of a sudden, we matter. So there's a lot of femtech companies coming up. A lot of them are focused on fertility, which is sort of not our jam. Some are just like the whole woman health, because yes, our care has been disparate and it's not been continuous. And there's just a lot of inequities in our space. Like Allison and I actually started a previous company before Ruth, and it was for a medical device that that's used on women during pap smears. Mm-hmm. It's called speculum, and any woman will know it's a fucking horseshit.
That's that metal thing that spreads you out, right?
Yeah, you know what it is. It's a tire jack. Okay, how would you like that up your butt? Nah, right? Yeah. So our first project was actually developing better speculum, which we actually got 2 FDA grants for. The problem is hardware is hard.
Is it?
It's hard. Nobody wants to fund it. And so we took it as far as we could with the 2 grants, but we realized that we could affect everyday lives faster with something like Ruth Health.
Right.
And especially at a high touch point of a woman's life where she's going to the doctor all the time, pregnancy. So we birthed this concept.
A friend of mine is making a movie about that pap smear experience.
Can you please introduce us?
I would love to.
I have oh my God, we have this whole thing. We built a better speculum.
I would love to, because she basically said because that experience is so traumatic.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of women don't go when they should.
Yes.
And then worse things happen to them. But also they discovered that a lot of the people performing this tests are men.
Yes.
And so what they decided to do, these filmmakers, is be the living,
recipient of the speculum?
Yeah, so they could teach them how to do it. And say, your hands are cold, that was too hard, you need to ask this, don't ask that. Like that kind of thing.
It came to the genesis because I was actually wounded by one.
Were you?
Yeah, UCLA Health Center, okay?
What?
Yeah.
That's the best, one of the best in the world, right?
Oh, they had it was bad. Anyhow, it was really traumatic for me, and so traumatic that I didn't go to the doctor for a couple of years. But that was one of the impetuses why we built Dioptra, which is a more comfortable speculum. Allison's mom is an OBGYN, so she knew. And we were talking about this, like, why is it metal? Why does it still creak? Why do I feel like it's a tar jack?
It creaks?
Yeah. As they make it bigger, yeah.
Who wants to hear that?
And then they have plastic ones that are supposed to be more comfortable.
Yeah.
Guess what? MDs have told us they have to sandpaper them down because the plastic is not cut right. So what on earth is going up my vagina?
How come you guys just don't have all the guns and just kill all the men?
We're hoping. I mean, we're trying, right? Like, Ruth Health is like what's propelling it. We've got Dioptra in our back pocket, which is the better speculum. We have a lot of ideas, but we can only focus on one thing at a time and do it well.
Let's move to Atwater Village.
Okay.
How long have you lived here?
Oh my goodness. So I moved to Los Feliz in 2013.
Were you a single lady at the time?
I was. I just ended a engagement, actually. Yeah.
Were you a runaway bride?
No. We kind of like, we called it quits like a couple months before the wedding. It was very mutual. It was very much just like very respectful, very much like we just are not right for each other.
A lot of times people don't do that because the invitations are out.
They were already out. Oh, yeah.
You probably worked for a year to organize
no,
this
it was
thing?
a fucking low key. I was going to have it at Burton Chase Park. I was a low key bride. It was
because you weren't super in love with the man?
I mean, it just, I don't know. I mean, even my wedding with Mark was like, wedding planner. I can't deal. I don't care about that shit.
What do you care about?
The relationship. I mean, like, great, cool. I gotta have a party. I gotta find a dress. Awesome. This is gonna suck because I gotta find one that fits me. I want to do City Hall.
Okay, hold on. Dresses don't fit you?
No. It's just like the cut. You know, they don't fit right, and you don't find one that looks right on you, or you're uncomfortable.
No disrespect. You're a beautiful woman. You're petite. What are you, 5'1"?
4.
Are you really? Okay, well, you seem
Oh, it just
easy to dress is all I'm saying.
but it's hard, right?
Are you not a girly girl?
I am a girly girl, but I don't enjoy weddings.
You don't like to go to other people's weddings?
I don't like that, and I don't like weddings. Period.
You wear a flower dress, right? Like, what's so hard?
I don't know. I just don't like weddings. Period. Yeah.
Okay, so you canceled that. You moved to Los Feliz. Mm-hmm. What street were you on in Los Feliz?
Riverside.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Way down there. Mm-hmm. As close to Atwater Village as you could get.
Exactly.
Why?
Riverside and Glendale. I had lived in Venice, but it was like a very nice apartment. So I had to find a place here that had like a doorman because I got a lot of packages and I was working from home. You know, I needed some full service. So there was like really only few places here that did that back then.
I wouldn't even know that there was a doorman situation.
It's not really a doorman. It's just like a front office.
Somebody's there.
Yeah, someone's there to get packages, to sign for things.
That's great.
Because I don't like to go to stores. So I needed that kind of full service, and there was only one building that did it, and it was like so much cheaper than it was like ridiculously. It was like half the cost
Compared to Venice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Whoa. But it wasn't as nice, but.
Did the 5 freeway bother you at night? Could you hear it?
No.
Good. Mm-mm. Good. So you're a single lady. Mm-hmm. Are you going to the bars in Atwater? Are you going to Bigfoot? Are you going to Club Teehee?
You know, I've only been to Bigfoot in Venice or Culver City. I've never
Bigfoot West?
I've never been to this one.
That's good.
PG, yeah, I didn't even know that was a thing. No, I was just kind of doing adult people stuff, you know?
Just working all the time?
Dinners, hang out, people, meeting friends. Yeah, I wasn't like going clubbing, if you're asking.
I'm not asking that.
Oh, can't do that. Yeah, no.
Okay, so you would go to dinner parties.
Yeah.
And your friends would hook you up with people.
No. It was more just organic. Like, I was just kind of like figuring myself out again, you know? Like, moving across town was like moving to another city.
Right.
It was huge. It was huge. And it was like a whole new thing. Like, oh my gosh, my life's different now.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
Yeah. LA's crazy like that.
It's like I never actually ever spent time on the east side. Even I've lived here forever, and I never was the east side. I was always like west sider because that's kind of like UCLA and where I grew, where I initially grew up. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow, there's like a whole ecosystem here that's pretty amazing. I love it here. I mean, people are like, what's it like? I'm like, oh, it's like Williamsburg, I guess, compared to New York.
Is that a good thing?
Yeah, it's hipster. It's hipster, but it's creative. Mm-hmm. And that's what I like about it is that you're not going to find like a rag and bone store or something like that, right? That's not happening on the street in Glendale. And, just for the audience to know, I live really basically on the main strip. Mm-hmm. I love it here. I was coming here anyways, at least 2 times a week.
You've got 2 dogs and a cat.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably a very nice place to have dogs you can walk.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, listen, when we lived in Los Feliz, we had that nice park, the Mulholland Aqueduct. But a lot of changes happened, throughout COVID, throughout like the homelessness situation. Mm-hmm. And we had left before all that happened. But it was just a beautiful park that we would hang out and take our dogs to.
Where'd you meet your husband?
At a Sunday fun day. And I'm going to leave it at that.
Were you drunk? Is that what you're trying to say?
No. It was a get together with friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it love at first sight?
No. He had a girlfriend.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think like we met because I was hanging out with a friend of hers. Yeah, that's kind of how it came together. But I met him and I was like, oh, I should date guys like this. Like, he's got his shit together. Like, what am I doing with these other guys? But we didn't connect until a couple months later.
So you introduce yourselves, you meet, and just him talking to you.
No, so we actually reconnected online. And I actually didn't remember him, to be honest. Because I was newly single and I had waited a few months before I really started dating just to be kind of like respectful. And I had, all this stuff. So I think I met him like the day when I was December 30th.
Wow.
Of 2013.
See, not only are women tough, but you guys remember shit.
Well, I only remember it because it was the last date I went on. I had dated, and I was had dated, and it was kind of fun and all that. But I was like, okay, fine, I'll do one more date for the end of the year. Why not? And it was with Mark, and he just was like, I remember you. I'm like, what? From what? Like social media? Like, I don't. He said I know you, and I was really freaked out because I thought, do you follow me on Twitter? Because I used to be really active on Twitter, and I'm becoming more active again just because I took a 2.5 year break, but I'm more active now. But I felt that maybe because I had met other friends on Twitter, so it wasn't unusual that because I would go to events and people are like, "Hey, I follow you on Twitter." I'm like, "That's so cool," and I made a lot of Twitter friends, so it wasn't unusual. So to frame that, it wasn't like I'm famous. It was just like, "Were you a Twitter friend?" Mm-hmm. So that was unusual. But then we kind of put two and together, and I was like, "Oh my god, I met you through so and so," and he was like, "Yeah, we're broken up." And so it was one of those things where I felt like I already met him because I met some friends of him who we still hang out with to this day. Mm-hmm. So I remember like thinking, cool guy. And then, I don't know, it just worked out. So we've been together for a very long time.
How long?
2014 and on.
So what are we? 8 years?
Yeah.
And you're in Atwater Village?
Yeah.
Do you want to stay in Atwater Village?
Yeah, but the inventory here is bad.
Well, you only need one.
Yeah, I know, but we love our house right now. We're really lucky. We just got this piece. It's a mid-century modern.
It is. This is like where I would store my records if I was...
Well, yes, that's the debate right now. The records are in the garage. We're not going in
there. Oh, you guys
there.
have vinyl?
Yes, tons.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Is it yours or his or both?
His.
He's got a ton of vinyl.
Did you know he was a DJ?
No, what kind of DJ?
Oh, my God. He was like Mark Danger. That was his name.
Like for bar mitzvahs?
No, like at the Avalon shit.
Well, you just scoffed clubbing.
Well, I wasn't.
And I agreed with you.
Yeah, but I didn't go back then.
I didn't either.
I didn't know him, but yeah, that was his jam.
You married Mark Danger.
I did Mark Danger, yeah. Somebody know him.
Do you want to be Audrey Danger?
No, I'm Audrey Wu. We can separate that part.
You're a hyphenated.
Oh, only on Facebook. It's for his family.
To make them happy?
So they can make connections to it, yeah.
You didn't want to take his name?
No, professionally, why would I? I've had a great career. Why would I change my name? It's confusing for everybody. Like, I don't care that much. It's just Audrey Woods. Let's keep it easy. We have to change all your fucking bank accounts and shit, like your social security card. Like, it's a lot of work.
I'm just asking questions
here. I'm like lazy. No.
Could that be a startup? Change your name easy.com?
I'm sure. Yeah. I imagine there could be an easy way to do it. I just didn't explore it, but perhaps.
But it doesn't seem like it is. Because I've heard other people say things like this.
It's too hard?
Yeah.
I don't even want to begin to Google it.
Exactly. Therefore, there's a business model.
Well, there you go. That was your idea.
Talk about lazy. I'm the laziest. I have ideas all day. I would rather just talk to people.
I have ideas all day, too. That's why I'm a startup founder.
What is your best tip for fellow entrepreneurs?
Oh, my gosh.
Especially, how do you raise $3 million?
Oh, that was tough. For those in the tech industry, they may know what is called Y Combinator, which is essentially Silicon Valley's mafia.
Oh, is it?
It's a startup. Do you know what Y Combinator is?
Not really.
It's an accelerator. It's like it's global now.
Is an accelerator different than an incubator?
Same thing.
Okay.
Except
it's a rich
They give you money. They give you money to be part of the program, and they take a certain percentage of equity. Now, Y Combinator, I didn't.
And sometimes they let you use their office space.
Nah, they before COVID, yes, you were up there in Mountain View, and which is why I was like, Y Combinator Mountain View? No, I'm not doing that. But when it became global,
I'm sorry. I keep interrupting you. Wasn't there a famous one in Pasadena?
Idea Lab.
Idea Lab.
Yeah, Steve Gross.
Right.
Yeah.
So I remember visiting there in 2000.
Yeah.
And they had little startups in their building.
So Y Combinator actually has backed Airbnb, Stripe. They've had a lot of unicorns. Their acceptance rate is like 1.5%. And they literally control the reins of Silicon Valley. The reason we raised 3.1 is, of course, we're awesome. But we're also 2 female founders that are LGBTQ and BIPOC led.
And what?
LGBTQ and BIPOC. Because my co-founder's 30, I'm very woke, quote unquote. I learned these things. So we are a queer minority company. Let's make it easier.
Great, thank you.
And that already...
She's the queer, you're the minority.
Yes. And there's already like a very difficult thing for just women, period.
Yeah.
Now, when you get into this incubator program, because they've incubated so many amazing companies and made $1 bazillion off of all these unicorns, they hold the reins to Silicon Valley. It's very strange. So you do this program and you graduate, and literally we got 100 investors coming into us.
So it's a good mafia.
Yeah, it is a good mafia, but before we got into the mafia, it was very hard to raise.
Right.
It was like, it took us 5 months to get $600,000. And then 3 months later, we turned around and raised 2.4 on top of that. 2.5?
How did you get into the Y Combinator?
Application.
You just wrote it down.
We didn't actually take it that seriously. So here's the thing about Y Combinator. People apply like up to like 10 times and don't get in. We got in first shot.
Look at that.
And that was because we took it as an exercise in actually figuring out what the fuck we were going to do with our company. And the questions are good. And I'll say that, Allison's a fantastic writer, and I'm a good writer too. So between the two of us being able to very coherently and very focusedly say exactly what problems we're solving, that got us through the door.
And so then there's an interview?
Yes. It's usually a 10-minute interview.
Only 10 minutes?
Yeah, it's really stressful. Ours stretched to almost like 15, 20 because they had a lot of questions.
Good.
It was good, but it was also very nerve-wracking because we're like, what the hell does this mean? You overthink it because then you go onto Reddit and you go into other places and all these founders are like psyching each other out and you're like, oh my God.
Is it like Shark Tank a little bit?
It's so like Shark Tank, yeah. You literally get 10 minutes and they ask you all these hard questions and then they call you like within 24 hours to let you know.
Well, thank God for that.
It's very stressful. Trust me, it was very stressful. And
longest 24 hours of your life.
It was really rough. I mean, we got an email later that evening about like who's running the technology and I'm like, no one, because we're not a company yet. And
did you?
How
did you say that?
So basically, they said to me,
TBD.
They said. So I had a former company that was a software company, and I had a co-founder and CTO that I'm really close with, and he was advising us. And he's like, give him some equity, make him a full-time founder, and have him join Y Combinator. And we're like, okay, cool. And we didn't do it.
Oh, really?
He's our CTO now, but.
Right.
It just wasn't the right time because when you're still trying to figure out your business model, why the hell do I need someone like coding? What is he coding? Like, there's nothing to do.
Right.
Are you coding some like basically what we call tech debt? You're creating like a hole for yourself.
Okay. I'm not here to diss anybody or paint anybody in a bad light. Does Y Combinator have good advice for you too? Or are they just the mafia that can just give you the money and the money will fix the problems?
I think that because we're healthcare, there's less relevant advice just because there's not a lot of partners there that have experience. Now, Michael Seibel, who's the CEO of Y Combinator, is a black man.
Oh.
Yeah.
What?
He was one of the co-founders of Justin TV and Twitch. Yeah. Michael Seibel is a black man. So he is the CEO of Y Combinator. They're trying.
Huh.
They're really trying. He was my group partner. So he was our head partner. So he's great, right? He's an entrepreneur, but what does Twitch do that has to relate to femtech, right? Not a lot.
Yeah.
But there is the idea of like, what do people want? Make something people want.
Yes. Right?
And that's the mentality Y Combinator gives you. It pushes you to market, make something that people want to use. And that's across anything.
So you did appreciate their
I
advice.
did. I mean, it was very weird. I felt like, wow, I'm a mediocre white man. Why is all this money coming at me? Like, this is very weird, but it leveled-ish the playing field for us.
But you're saying that mediocre white men are used to
Yeah, I mean,
getting money they don't deserve?
yeah. And you have a
Meanwhile, you have to work for it. You're used to working for it.
Yeah, you could have a stupid ass idea and dropped out of Stanford, no life experiences, and people just give you checks.
Is that what happened to your husband?
No, he didn't. No, I would say Allison went to Yale, so that does help because Michael Seibel went to Yale too.
Okay, speaking of your husband, white man. Were your parents okay with that?
Yeah, dude, they were just like, get fucking married, please.
Because why? You're not gonna have a big bash.
Well, it's like, hello, you're getting old. Like, get married.
Okay. Had you date Asian men before?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, exclusively only when I first moved to New York.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it actually really narrowed down to like only Taiwanese men. So that's like a very small demographic of Taiwanese American people.
Were there Taiwanese men at UCLA?
No.
Huh.
I met them in New York.
So you were curious.
Yeah,
What's it like?
Just like, oh, I want to date a guy with the same culture as me, and then you realize they're all friends with each other. And so after,
all the boys are friends with
oh my
each
God,
other.
after you date all of them and you see them all talking together at the bar, it's horrific. And that was the moment. So I dated a bunch of Taiwanese guys, lawyers, doctors, all the things, right? Because, that's what you do. And then I go to this party and I step in and I'm like, they're all talking to each other at the bar. This is so gross. Oh my God, I got to get out of here. I can't date any more guys like this. So that's when I was like, I'm just going to date anything. I mean, I can't have this insular community talking to each other because the fact you all having drinks together is like disgusting. So, and I don't want to see it. I don't want to be there. You can. I just want to see it.
Were those relationships that you had with those men reasonably normal?
No.
Oh.
No, they were all dramatic.
Therefore, you don't want them talking.
Yeah.
I see.
It's very bad.
Who was the cause of the drama, Audrey?
Probably me. I mean, listen, I was 20. I was crazy. I don't know.
What kind of drama were you causing in New York in your 20s?
Oh, my God. I mean, it's just...
Were you doing it just to liven things up?
I think that, I was very different then. Wasn't matured. I think there was a lot of just anxiety overriding at all of it.
Anxiety over what?
Just, stuff. I mean, I'm dealing with this. I'm trying to figure this out right now. Like, why was I so crazy? I think it was just more of the anxiety and sort of expectations that for some reason I had in my head. And a lot of it was just me fighting with myself every day. And that's what I'm going to put it down to.
The reason I was causing drama in my 20s with wonderful women is I didn't want to get married. And so the best way to do that, either date crazy women, which I learned later, that's the easy way to do it, or you screw it up yourself. You sabotage it yourself. Do you think you felt the same way?
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, maybe I just knew none of it was going to work out. So I was just being an extra asshole. But I don't really know. I mean, these days, I don't care as much.
Did these men want to marry you?
No. We were all young.
Just having a good time in New York?
Yeah.
So there wasn't need for drama?
Yeah, but I felt like there should have been. I was just kind of dramatic. I mean, very dramatic. Now to look back at it, I'm like, oh my God. Like, oh my God. Really? Over that one? Are you kidding me?
What's the best restaurant in Atwater?
Oh, that's a hard one.
Name names.
Oh, I mean...
Is this Bon Vivant thing any good?
Bon Vivant is good in the sense that everybody will find something they like.
Okay.
So it's very even-keeled, right? I like Vietnamese food, and there's 3 Vietnamese restaurants on the street.
Are there really?
Yeah, so there's Blossom.
Wait a second. That used to be in downtown?
Yeah, there's
also
one here.
in Silver Lake?
Yeah, there's a Blossom.
They closed in Silver Lake?
Yeah, and they opened here. There's a Blossom.
I love Blossom.
There's a Indochine Viet, and then there's
across the street there's one too, right?
Viet Indochine across the street, and then there's another one down the street here that's Northern Vietnamese, Viet noodle or something like that. There's 3 places. Oh, More Hero, which is attached to one of the noodle places. More Hero is a James Beard winning chef.
Oh.
And you can do only omakase there.
It's sushi?
Yeah. More Hero is like, he mills his own rice. It's yeah. So he opened a place down here.
So he's a damn show off.
He's like this older Japanese man who's James Beard winner. It's really hard to get reservations.
What's his name again?
More Hero. And that is the name of his restaurant.
Where was he before here?
I think he was in the valley somewhere.
Interesting.
And
You've been there?
many times, yeah.
How much? $200, right?
More
than that.
Yeah.
Is it worth $200 plus?
It actually is really good. I mean, it's really fresh, and being able to see him work is kind of magical. You'll see a lot of like food critics there. Oh. They're at their regulars. They're at the bar. They know him.
Because I mean, that's Mashihita type prices.
Yeah. Yes.
Right? That's Nobu prices.
Yeah, but it's actually because Morihira's still he's still like milling the rice and making the sushi. Like,
he's the guy.
Him. Yeah, he's
You're paying the guy.
You're watching him make magic, and it's a symphony on the plate.
Is it really?
It's delicious. It's expensive as fuck, but it's good.
And it looks pretty.
It was very, very Japanese, very zen, very, very, very clean. You know, I mean, the fact they have like the Aesop shit in the bathroom. You know, like
I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's a fancy ass soap.
They better.
Yeah, so it's fantastic. I mean, he's a legend.
Is this one of those that there's only like 10 people in the whole?
So you could fit more than that, but they only do 2 seatings a night, so it's really hard to get reservations. And when you do make a reservation, you have to put money down just to make a reservation because they're so popular. Wow. Like we got a reservation at 6:00 recently, and we got there, and there were people already waiting in line to get in. We all had 6:00, but the door doesn't open until 6.
They did not want to miss this experience.
It's.
Have you been to other super high-end sushi places like this?
I mean, Nobu or...
How does this compare?
I just think that the artistry is just really amazing. Like, Nobu is so commoditized at this point that you don't know who's making your sushi. You know Morihira's making your sushi here. He's there. He's making it, and he is curating the entire evenings. Everything's so delicate, down to the dishes and the pottery. He makes that all himself. All the dishes he creates, yeah. He's an artistic guy. He's just a creator.
When I eat good sushi, it totally melts in my mouth.
Yeah.
Does everything there melt in your mouth?
Yeah, it's pretty, I mean, depending what you're getting, but yeah, it's all really, really good.
And the rice does taste different than really good rice?
He does his own rice.
But you can taste the difference.
Yeah, it's the way is, yeah, you can tell the difference. It looks a little different. So he might use a different varietal of rice to actually make his own rice. But there are restaurants in the neighborhood that actually use his rice, and they'll say Morihira rice. Oh, wow. Yeah. He's a legend.
Well, that's a great way.
If you can, like, interview him and get a free meal, I would do it.
Would you? It doesn't sound like he needs me.
Oh.
Does he want it? Does he care?
He likes having, I mean, I see the critics there.
Yeah, but, I mean, okay. Fine. I'll try. I'll see if he's down. But, you know...
Cool.
I'd rather talk to you about it because you will pay that kind of money for it because you see the value.
Yeah. I mean, I can now, right?
Well, thank you, Audrey, so much for your time today. Best of luck with Ruth Health.
Thank you.
RuthHealth.com. Mm-hmm. And what's your Twitter handle?
Okay, so it's Mr. Audrey Wu. There's a whole reason behind that.
Yeah.
Okay, so most of the time, because I travel so much, all of the travel's under my name. So Mark or whoever I had been with in the past, they would get a knock on the door and be like, Mr. Wu, here's some courtesy, blah, 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 fruit and like pang. And it was always a Mr. Wu thing. So it was kind of funny.
So you're Mr. Audrey Wu. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thank you so much. Johnny. Best of luck.
Okay.
Yay. How great was Audrey? You know who we'd go into business with? Our Patreons. When you stoke us, you're saying, Tony, Jordan, here's a Cuban dinner. Here's a case of wine. Here's a mid-century modern statement cabinet where you can store your vinyl. Every donation you hand over helps us keep this insane project a-rolling. So shout out to our Patreons, Nancy Rommelman, Sean Atlow, Matt Mills, Sean Wallace, Greg and Molly, Jamie Taylor, Mark Johnson, Kira Ann, Barney Granke, Ben Welsh, Henry Furman, Jen Adams, The Lonely Chair, Trevor Wilson, and Bree Wild. Want to hear your name at the end of next week's show? Go to patreon.com/hereinla and give till it hurts. Also, shout out to our Angelinos. To be an Angelino, all you have to do is PayPal us $25 or more, and we will list you on the Here in LA website that Mr. Mark Johnson is building, and it'll be there forever. You'll also be given a number to denote how early you got in. Angelino number 1 is Allie Miller. 2, George Wright. 3, Rita Joanne. 4, Jason Sutter. 5, Grant Houghton. 6, Rob Baker. 7, Kev Chang. And 8 is Brenda Garcia. Just PayPal your hard-earned cash to busblog@gmail.com. Want to support us, but you just gave $3 million to help women after they give birth? It's fine. We can still help. You can still help. Post your favorite episode on your Facebook. Oh my God, post 2. Tweet something nice about us. Tell your friends. Tell them how Here in LA is spelled, and it's on Apple Podcasts and Google and even Spotify. Here in LA is produced by myself, Tony Pierce, and a man who's helped produce one adorable angel, Jordan Katz. Editing, mixing, and music supervision by Jordan Katz. Songs by Orgone and Jordan Katz. Special thanks to Cindy for creating the logo, Jen for inspiring this, and Mark, aka Mr. Wu, for recommending his wife for this episode. Glendale Boulevard!